架网约车只能够你的生活，靠它发财不。
Driving for ride hailing services can only support your basic needs. Relying on it to get rich is impossible, and paying off debts is even harder. To put it bluntly, this is the last resort for us adults. In the past, the ride hailing industry attracted millions of people with slogans like freedom in entrepreneurship and easy monthly income for 20,000 yuan. Today, it has become a giant machine that extracts labor, with millions of drivers continuously being consumed as human fuel. Recently, a blogger interviewed a female driver who has been working in ride hailing for 8 years to understand the hardships of this profession.
今年第4个年头了，一个月2万块钱。
I've been driving in Shanghai for the fourth year now. I earn around 20,000 yuan a month as my gross income. The car I rent was the cheapest last year at 7,500 yuan per year, but I spent about 250 yuan a day. Charging the car costs 50 yuan, and meals and accommodation cost another 100 yuan. After running 600 kilometers a day, I only make around 200 yuan. Most people in this industry have to work at least 15 hours a day. If you don't put in 15 hours, you can't make money. When I first came to Shanghai, I worked night shifts. I'd start at 5 p.m. and finish at 10 a.m. the next day, working 18 hours non-stop. The night service fee was higher, and at that time, I could make 800, 900, or even 1,000 yuan a day. After hearing the driver's answer, the blogger expressed that it seems difficult to make money from driving ride-hailing services now.
对，现在快车这个系统在
Yes, the ride-hailing system now is pushing all these special deals, and the discounted prices are so low. There's no choice but to keep pushing the market. If you don't work hard, you end up losing money. It's hard to make money now. I feel the broader economic environment is partly to blame. Many people who lost their jobs are entering the industry thinking it's easy, but it's not like that. If you can't endure hardship or work long hours, you won't make any money. The woman also mentioned that she is not the only one facing such difficulties.
短时期的找不到工作的进来过渡一下。
There are two types of people who enter this industry. One is those who are temporarily out of work and just passing through. The other is people with heavy family burdens, such as those in debt. I once knew a driver with a college education, but his parents were in the poor health and couldn't earn money, so he dropped out early. He couldn't find a suitable job, so he started driving for ride hailing. He told me that after 3 months, he didn't make much money. He lived frugally, working 17 hours a day, and at best earned 10,000 yuan a month. There's no rest. You're practically working every day except when eating and sleeping. Everything else is spent in the car. There's no way around it. Another driver who works in Hubei recorded his experience, saying that after driving for 12 hours and completing 10 trips in one day, he only earned 393 yuan, which is around 54 USD. The situation of a driver in Xiamen City is even more dire. Working without rest for a month with 12-hour shifts every day, he only earned 5,000 yuan. According to China's standard work hours, 40-hour a week and about 160 hours a month, this driver's work hours exceeded 360 hours per month, which is 2.25 times the normal working hours, yet his income is below the local average wage. However, while driver income is declining, the platform's commission is constantly increasing.
你觉得现在网约车的单价低吗？
You think the current ride-hauling fare is low? Maybe passengers don't think so. I took my passenger to their destination, and I got 16 yuan. The passenger paid 39.5 yuan. This ride was on the Didi platform, and I only received 16 yuan, while the platform shows the passenger paid 22 yuan. But the passenger actually paid 39 yuan on a third-party platform, even though the original price was 44, and they received a 5 yuan coupon. Oh my god, that's more than half taken away. The two platforms' commissions don't exceed 30% each, but together they exceed 50%. Is this fare low? What era are we in? And you still dare to sell rides like this? These platforms really, aren't they a bit outrageous? Is this a double ripoff? Do passengers know? Do drivers know? Do the authorities know?
This number far exceeds the 15 to 20% management fee ratio of traditional taxi companies and is much higher than the 20 to 30% commission standard of international platforms like Uber. This almost predatory commission model allows platform profits to rise continuously while driver incomes are shrinking. Even more serious are the numbers of drivers rapidly increases. Fares have dropped to an unbelievable level. A blogger posted a video saying that the platform's fare has now fallen below 1 yuan per kilometer. Social security fees for parents and children have risen from a few hundred yuan to about 400 yuan per person. Moreover, vehicles must handle operating permits and purchase insurance while also facing large-scale inspections and fines ranging from 10,000 to 30,000 yuan per person. Even if a vehicle runs 500,000 to 600,000 kilometers, the driver has to bear the down payment and interest, with the per kilometer cost reaching 0.7 to 0.8 yuan. However, due to severe platform price pressures and lack of regulation, it's becoming unsustainable.
I want to ask all the relevant leaders in the departments for all the millions of ride-hauling families, how do they pay for Social Security? How do they pay for rural medical insurance? How do they support their children? How do they pay for tuition? How do they live? How many drivers, while running orders, suffer from back pain, neck pain, and cramps in their legs, but don't dare go to the hospital? They run until they have varicose veins and urinary incontinence, but don't dare go to the hospital because they know that once they do, they might lose all the money they've worked so hard to earn over the years. I feel that this group is really too difficult.
As for the platform, on one hand, they boast about cooperative agreements, but on the other hand, they endlessly exploit drivers. Once a driver violates a contract even slightly, the ride-hailing platform casually deducts money from their earnings without issuing any invoices. The drivers are being taken advantage of, and they have no way to fight back.
Everyone might say, you don't have to drive, you don't have to do this. But the problem is, many drivers have already rented cars at high prices, spent a lot of money buying their vehicles, and obtained operating permits. They have to pay 3,000 to 4,000 yuan a month for the car lease. So if they stop working, how will they support their debt? How will they pay the 3,000 or 4,000 yuan monthly payments? They didn't have money to begin with, which is why they joined this industry. Now this is forcing every family into a dead end. I believe under such price reductions, many drivers will continue to extend their hours for survival and to pay off their debts, even without time to sleep. I believe in such an environment, there will be more drivers who work themselves to exhaustion, suffer sudden death, and lose their lives. Isn't this something the leaders should care about and address?
The platform not only exploits, but also monitors very strictly. Missing an order or receiving a poor rating from passengers can result in salary deductions or account bans. On the X platform, a driver complained, "Didi's rating is more important than my life. One bad review can make me work for a week for nothing." Many news reports reveal a systemic crisis where ride-hailing drivers are trapped in a bottomless pit. Platforms are extracting every drop of their sweat through high commissions and low fares. The sharing economy and win-win ideals promoted by platforms now seem like a well-designed wealth transfer scheme. Now drivers are not working, they are fighting for survival, paying the price in physical extortion and loss of dignity. Survey shows that long hours of driving have caused severe health problems for drivers. A 2024 survey by China Labor Bulletin found that 80% of ride-hailing drivers suffer from chronic fatigue syndrome, with over 50% suffering from lumbar or cervical spine diseases. According to the 2022 medical journal study, long-term ride-hailing drivers have a 73% higher incidence of occupational diseases like cervical spondylosis, lumbar disc herniation, and hypertension compared to the general population.
It's 1:30 a.m. now. I've realized something. After driving for ride hauling for a long time, my body is really weak. I've been doing this for 4.5 years, and just now I ran 1 kilometer in 9 minutes, and I'm completely exhausted. Every day I rush around, curled up in this driver's seat. I didn't make money, and now my health is gone. I don't care anymore. From now on, every time I finish my shift, I'll come here and run. Not for anything else, but for my health. Keep going.
Even more worrisome are the mental health problems. Due to work pressure and unstable income, the depression rate among ride-hailing drivers is as high as 32%, far exceeding the national average. Lee, a driver in Beijing who has been driving for 5 years, said in an interview, I almost have no regular schedule now. It's hard to fall asleep at night, and even when I do, I get woken up by the sound of orders. But if I don't take orders, I have no income, so I have to push myself. This vicious cycle is silently consuming the health and lives of the drivers. Excessive working hours have also caused a sharp deterioration in family relationships. A survey of 5,000 ride-hailing drivers showed that more than 60% of drivers spend less than 3 hours a week communicating with their families, and nearly 30% report that work issues have worsened family conflicts. A ride-hailing driver in Hangzhou posted a heartbreaking comment on social media. "My child had no one to pick them up from school, couldn't get through to me on the phone, and in the end it was the neighbors who helped. My wife says I'm just a shadow dad, and my child doesn't recognize me anymore." Long hours of driving also bring serious safety risk. Data from transportation authorities show that the accident rate of ride-hailing services rises significantly when drivers work more than 10 hours consecutively. The accident rate of drivers working over 15 hours is 300% higher than the normal level. This work model is systemically destroying family structures, causing education and emotional neglect issues for the next generation. Its social cost goes far beyond what surface economic data can show. However, even so, platforms' algorithms are still encouraging overtime work. Drivers in many areas have reported that the platform sets rewards for continuous orders, indirectly encouraging drivers to work overtime. A former ride-hailing platform employee who wishes to remain anonymous revealed the system can clearly identify when a driver has worked past the safety limit but still continues to send orders because this meets the platform's requirement for maximizing profits. This pursuit of profit at the expense of safety is essentially putting the lives of drivers and passengers in danger and is a serious deviation from social responsibility. So, what is the root cause of this crisis? First, it's the platform's profit-driven approach and algorithm tyranny. The operation logic behind ride-hailing platforms like Didi is simple: maximize profits and minimize cost. Drivers are the largest cost, so exploiting them becomes the primary strategy. Algorithms control everything: fares, routes, commissions, and even drivers' ratings and order permissions. Drivers have no bargaining power and must accept. When the price per kilometer drops below 1 yuan, it's not a system error, but a deliberate design by the platform. The platform creates an oversupply by increasing the number of drivers, forcing them to compete in low price battles. Take Mr. Wang's 39 yuan fare as an example. The platform takes a large 59%, which shifts wealth from laborers to the company. According to a 2024 study by China Labor Bulletin, the commission cut of ride-hailing platforms has risen by an average of 20% since 2020, while labor protection for drivers have made no progress. Didi's 2024 revenue is expected to be 200 billion yuan, approximately 27.5 billion USD. The company has massive profits, but drivers like Zhang Wei can't even afford to take a day off. What's even more frustrating to many is the platform's dynamic pricing. On the surface, this system adjusts prices according to supply and demand, but in reality, it often lowers drivers' income while raising passengers' fares. On the X platform, a driver complained, "During peak hours, passengers paid a high price, but I didn't get a single extra cent." All the money went into the platform's pocket. This opaque distribution mechanism makes drivers the victims of algorithms, with their incomes being manipulated. Next, the core reason why prices are so low is supply exceeding demand. China's economic slowdown has pushed millions of people into the ride-hailing industry, whether it's laid off factory workers, bankrupt small business owners, unemployed college graduates, or white-collar workers trying to pay off mortgages. Many have flocked to the seemingly low-barrier industry. In 2025, the number of ride-hailing drivers in Beijing and Shanghai has doubled since 2020, while the demand for rides has stagnated due to the economic downturn. As a result, platforms can arbitrarily lower the fares because they will always be desperate for drivers willing to take orders, even if they don't make any money. This surplus of labor is not accidental. The Chinese Communist Party's failure to create stable employment has pushed a large workforce into the gig economy. While ride-hailing services have become their lifeline, they are also a trap. Drivers are stuck in a vicious cycle. The more people join, the lower the fares, the longer the hours, and the less the income. In 2024, data from the National Bureau of Statistics show that China's urban unemployment rate was officially reported as 5.3%, but the actual number is likely much higher, especially in the casual employment sector. Experts believe that from the 2 points above, the hypocrisy of the Chinese Communist Party is laid bare. On the surface, it promotes common prosperity, with state media widely praising the contributions of workers and Xi Jinping's speeches, often including the slogan "People First." But behind the scenes, the CCP is the main force behind the exploitation of drivers. Didi, which seems like a market-driven giant, is actually under the tight control by the CCP. In 2021, the CCP launched an investigation into Didi under the guise of data security, imposing a fine of 8 billion yuan, about 1.1 billion US dollars, but ignored the exploitation of drivers. This sends a clear message: regulate data, but profits are free to earn. The CCP's labor policy is equally noteworthy. China's gig workers lack basic protections such as minimum wage and collective bargaining rights. China's guidelines for the protection of the rights of new employment form workers, released in 2023, claim to improve the situation of gig workers, but their enforcement is effectively non-existent. Local governments, driven by tax revenue and economic data, turn a blind eye to platform violations. In 2024, a survey by China Labor Bulletin showed that there were fewer than 1,000 labor inspections nationwide for gig workers, while the number of ride-hailing drivers has surpassed 7 million. This weak enforcement is essentially a formality. What is particularly concerning is the CCP's adoption of automation. Driverless taxis are a core part of the CCP's technology powerhouse strategy. Autonomous driving projects supported by the Ministry of Industry and Information Technology have already been trialed in cities like Shenzhen and Guangzhou. According to a 2025 report by The Guardian, driverless taxis in Shenzhen now cover 10% of the city's taxi market, and companies like Baidu and AutoX are even collaborating with Uber to expand internationally. The CCP views artificial intelligence as a key to military and economic dominance, but for ride-hailing drivers, this is essentially a death sentence. In 2025, Didi announced plans to invest 100 billion yuan into developing driverless cars by 2027, with plans to replace 30% of its drivers. Experts speculate that the reason behind this is that robots are obviously cheaper and more obedient. On the other hand, beyond economic and policy factors, changes in social perceptions have also worsened drivers' difficulties. In China, the culture of involution, or known as internal competition, has deeply ingrained itself in society. The 9 to 9 6 days a week work system is glorified as striving, while the gig economy is packaged as flexible employment. State media often portray ride-hailing drivers as entrepreneurs of the new era, but never mention their low income and lack of protections. Drivers are told to be self-reliant, with any complaints being labeled as not working hard enough. This mindset forces drivers to not only have a fight against the platform, but also the indifference of society. On the X platform, a driver wrote, "I drive for 15 hours every day, but others say I'm not working hard enough, saying I chose the wrong industry. What choice do I have? I just want to survive." The societal pressure causes drivers to internalize a feeling of failure, as their plight is a personal issue rather than the result of systemic exploitation. The CCP's propaganda machine has successfully transformed structural issues into personal responsibility, diffusing potential collective resistance. Ironically, while the CCP promotes people-centered development, it reduces people to mere resources. In 2024, the official media outlet People's Daily published an article describing ride-hailing as a model for the new economy, embodying Chinese-style innovation. The article, however, made no mention of the drivers' low income and long hours, presenting their hardships as if they were a natural part of the system. This propaganda not only obscures the reality, but also reframes exploitation as striving, leading drivers to question themselves in their frustration. So, will this crisis change? History does not seem optimistic. In 2020, the protests of food delivery workers led to temporary concessions from platforms, such as lowering some commissions. But within a year, the platform reverted to their old ways. Ride-hailing drivers face even greater obstacles. Their lack of union organization and the CCP's crackdown on collective actions makes protests extremely risky. In 2025, a driver in Hangzhou was summoned by the police for organizing an online discussion group, with the reason given as disrupting social order. This high-pressure environment forces drivers to remain angry but silent. A more realistic possibility is that the situation for drivers will continue to worsen. The advancement of autonomous driving technology will further squeeze jobs opportunities. This year, driverless taxis in Guangzhou already account for 50% of the market share, and by 2028, it is expected to cover over 50%. Drivers not only have to fight against the platform, but also against the machines that are set to replace them. Chinese ride-hailing drivers are not just statistics, they are individuals trapped in an exploitative system. The CCP's Common Prosperity slogan conceals a harsh reality. Workers are treated as mere resources, fueling the digital platform and benefiting elite groups. This issue extends beyond China, serving as a global warning. When profit and control takes precedence over human well-being, society ultimately pays a heavy price.